I believe the myth Ruth is referring to is a fairy tale story many girls are told at a young age that a prince will come and save your life. You will get married, have children, and live happily ever after. This myth of happily ever after, which begins as soon as the man marries the woman, is unrealistic in present times. The happy ever after myth in present times is ideally characterized by the man being the sole provider and the woman being the homemaker. However, for many people, I believe the outcome of believing in this myth is not always marriage, but the possibility of marriage, divorce, single motherhood, and being a woman breadwinner. According to Ruth, the myth promises women that they will be loved and appreciated, providing fulfillment for themselves through their husband's encouragement and support. However, I believe if this were true, trends such as declining marriage rates, large percentages of children living in female headed households, and a high proportion of births to unmarried women would not be significant. The main problem with adhering to these myths is that it provides a three-step guide to get to the fairy tale, which is number one, Prince Charming finds you, number two, Prince Charming marries you, and number three, Prince Charming and you have children, then comes happily ever after. The myth is very vague and does not detail what women give up in pursuit of it. Women lose a small quality of their personal happiness while men gain so much more. In society, I have observed myths of happily ever after developing in childhood movies such as Cinderella, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty. Their primary audience is young girls, teaching them that princesses who are quiet, sweet, and soft spoken wait for a rescue from a handsome prince who does not show up until halfway through the story when he is ready to save the princess and fall in love. The story emphasizes that women often center their lives around waiting for Prince Charming, and Prince Charming chooses the beautiful princess who has been waiting for him. The central dilemma in boys as human, for boys growing up in the United States, is a lack of and pursuit of intimate friendships due to their fear of losing their manliness. I believe for men, it is tough to build and pursue those intimate relationships with other men and friendship due to masculine expectations of being disconnected, strong, dominant, and self reliant. These traits don't really foster an environment that inspires the pursuit and building of intimate friendships, which often require individuals to be vulnerable and to be in touch with their emotions. According to Way, boys want and need close friendships to share their dark secrets, freely express their emotions and their vulnerabilities, and receive sensitivity to their feelings in return. I believe the standards boys say they need in intimate relationships do require both parties to be in touch with their emotions. What makes a friendship intimate is the exchange of vulnerabilities, experiences, trust, and emotions. Those factors are what draw people into friendship, creating that intimacy craved by many boys. In society, if boys were socialized to embrace their emotions, they would pursue and build these intimate friendships. Boys would be taught to express their feelings healthily as they arrive. Moreover, in learning to express their feelings healthily, they would understand how to address other individuals' feelings healthily as well. This will make the friendships they do have more personal and encourage the pursuit of more intimate friendships. I believe that homophobic jokes and name callings, such as that is sus and that is gay, are used to remind other boys that their actions are not representative of masculinity, but rather lean on the gay and girl side of the spectrum. Boys who use these phrases typically align themselves with expectations of masculinity to be strong, dominant, and emotionless. They are typically the ones who most commonly use homophobic actions to keep other boys in line with these expectations. These boys still have friendships that they consider important. So, in order to keep the intimacy within that friendship, when they engage in intimate interactions such as hugging or crying, they resort to using homophobic jokes such as no homo and no gay stuff as a shield that blocks them from being emasculated when engaging in these behaviors that are typically not associated with masculinity. According to Pasco, insulting each other for being unmasculine reinforces expectations of masculinity and provides space for straight boys to forge intimate ties with one another while affirming their masculinity. I believe that one that boys' biggest fear one of boys' biggest fears is being called gay and being emasculated. However, they do desire intimate friendships and wish to engage in intimate behavior, which is only normalized in the female gender and not the male gender. Men have found a way to appease the world by saying no homo, to reiterate that they are not gay, and to appease their internal selves and reaffirm themselves that they are not acting any less masculine by engaging in these behaviors. In society, I do not believe we have moved away from these aggressive homophobic behaviors. I believe that some grown men have internalized homophobia due to the use of homophobic statements when they were young. As young boys, they are socialized to conform to traditional masculine norms, especially in young friendships. So young boys use homophobic jokes to access intimacy with their male friends. As these men grow older, though, I believe they grew out of using those jokes as a gateway because they are considered childish jokes. Instead, these men avoid intimacy and friendship altogether because those jokes present no shield, or they have very minimal intimacy and friendship because they are aware of the fear of coming off as gay, but they still know that intimacy is very important. I believe that the change in homophobia rates in England is due to the English people exhibiting a degree of acceptance toward homosexuality and the ideas of being perceived as homosexual. The schoolboys in England exhibit this through physical touch, intimate conversation, and comfort with and a certain comfort level with gay people exhibited in their desire to reduce homophobia. Homophobia, especially with men, has been looked at as distasteful. Homosexuality with men has been looked at as distasteful, and some men try not to engage in behaviors or conversations that associate them with homosexuality, which affirms masculine expectations and attempts to avoid the association. According to McCormick, boys use physical touch as a sign of friendship. Ben and Eli specifically casually held hands while speaking, and Ben placed his arm around Eli's waist. When they do these actions, they do not consider it as gay, but rather as how friends express their intimacy. In society, specifically in high school, boys are extremely strict about their male friends not exhibiting homosexuality behaviors. They were fine if jokingly one of their friends kissed them, but they had to first say no homo or make it known that although the kissing may look homosexual, they were not gay. This was an unspoken rule in my high school, and for many boys, they learned one throughout high school. Other than jokingly being intimate, the boys in my high school did not engage in intimate behaviors.